Hi everyone. So tonight I'm going to give you some tips on stretching. So after you do your workouts, it's good to spend 5 to 10 minutes stretching. Not necessarily stretching before your workouts, but after your workouts when your muscles are all warm, your joints are all nice and loose. That is when you really want to work on your flexibility. So I'm going to share some stretches tonight that you can do. And when you hold these stretches, I want you to really focus on your breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose, like I talked about with yoga breathing. That's really going to help you stay in the stretches longer. It's going to help you increase your flexibility, okay? Now I'm going to focus on some lower body stretches for some of the major muscles, and then also some upper body stretches, okay? So the first one I'm going to start with is to stretch your hamstrings. And many people are very tight in the hamstrings. And when you're tight in your hamstrings, that can cause lower back discomfort because then your hamstrings are tight, they're pulling on your lower back. So doing hamstring stretches is going to be very beneficial to your hamstrings, obviously, but also to your lower back area. So we're going to do a seated forward bend, and there's a couple tools I have. A towel, you're going to say why, and then a smaller towel, and you're going to see why. If you are very tight in your hamstrings, then I'll tell you, sitting with your legs stretched out in front is probably very uncomfortable. You probably have to bend your knees a lot. Also, it might be very difficult when you're seated in this position to actually bring your shoulders right over your hips. When you're really tight, you usually want to lean back because that relieves the stretching in the hamstrings. So this is where a towel can come in handy, a block could come in handy, or even like a book. And what you do is you roll it up and you sit on it, and it creates a lift, and that lift helps to alleviate some of that stretching in the hamstrings. And when you have that lift, then it's much easier to get your shoulders right over your hips. So if you do need to create a lift, just take a big towel, roll it up, and sit on it. I'm not going to use it, but if you need to, go ahead. What I want you to do is to flex your feet so your toes are pointed up. And I want you to draw your belly in gently, and you're trying to get your shoulders right over your hips, and your hands are right next to your hips. Now, what you would do is just hold this position and breathe a few times. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. And as you exhale, I want you to press your calves and your hamstrings down into the floor. Draw your shoulders back and down a little further, and you're going to feel like your spine lengthens up or you're sitting taller. So just try to do that. Breathe a few times. Inhale and exhale through your nose, slow and deep. Now after you do that a few times, then we're going to go into the forward bend part, and this is where you might use your small towel. And what you do is you put the small towel right around the bottom of your feet. Hopefully you guys can see. That's going to be something you can grab. Now a forward bend, a lot of times when you see people do it, it looks like this, and this like so scares me. I said this is not doing anything for your hamstrings. When we do a forward bend, the purpose of the bend is to lengthen the hamstrings, but it's also to stretch the lower back. And if you're rounded doing this, there is no lower back stretch going on, okay? So as we do this, I want you to think about reaching beyond your toes, keeping your shoulders back and down. So you'd put your hands here, you'd be in your staff, you'd breathe a few times, and then I'd like you to inhale up. Now as you slowly exhale, reach forward beyond your toes. Your head stays up. Now you can place your hands down here, or you can grab your towel. And now inhale, and now as you exhale, draw yourself forward again. Feeling your belly touch your thighs, your chest is still open. Notice I never drop my head. Inhale again, and as you exhale, try to go a little further. Now, go as far as you can go, and then just hold it and breathe for a few breaths. Press your calves and your hamstrings into the floor as you exhale. And notice on your exhales, you might even be able to come a little farther forward. And then release. Though that is a great hamstring stretch. Okay, the next one, an outer hip stretch. So it's called pigeon in yoga, and some of you might already know it and are very familiar. But what you're going to do is have one leg in front and one leg is bent behind. Well, what you're going to do with that bent leg is you're going to extend it back. And you're going to make sure that your hip bones are pointed forward. The top of your knee, the top of the foot should be touching the floor. And just slide that leg back as far as you can. Your chest is up, and I want you to inhale. And as you exhale, walk down to your forearms. Hold it here. Inhale. And as you exhale, try to go further down, bringing your forehead to the floor. And you would just stay there and breathe for about 3 deep breaths, making sure to keep your hips squared and not rock to one side or the other. Now, after a few breaths, I want you to lift up. Now, from here, we're going to do a little quad stretch, the front of our thigh. That leg that is extended back, you're going to bend that leg up. So it looks like I'm still in my pigeon. I'm going to bend the leg up. Yes. And you're going to hold it there. And if you can reach back, grab your foot and pull the heel towards you. The other hand is down to help you balance. And again, you do a few deep breaths. Inhale deeply through the nose. And as you exhale, try to pull the heel closer. And after a few breaths, release. And then you would repeat the other side. You bring that other leg forward, the opposite leg is back, and then you would extend that leg back. You would slowly work yourself down. As you exhale, you would walk down to your forearms. You would inhale again, and then you would exhale, come all the way down, and you would stay here for a few breaths and just breathe. Then you would work yourself back up. You would bend the back leg and reach back for the foot if you can get it. And you would hold and breathe again for a few breaths. On each exhale, try to draw the heel in a little more. All right. And after those deep breaths, you would just release, and then you could sit to the side. So I gave you a stretch for your hamstrings, for your quads, and for your outer hips. Now for your upper body, I'm going to give you a stretch called Thread the Needle, and it's for the back of your shoulders. Your knees are about hip distance apart. You're going to take your arm and you're going to thread it between the other arm and leg, and you're going to bring your shoulder all the way down to the mat. Turn your head and rest it. Now the other arm is going to reach straight forward. You're going to inhale, and as you exhale, try to sit your hips back a little bit. And continue to breathe. Inhale and exhale. And I also want you to try to push your shoulder down towards the floor. The shoulder with the arm that is extended straight forward. So again, you'd hold this for 3 or 4 breaths. And then you'd come back up and you would switch sides. Bring the arm through first, bring the back of the shoulder to the floor, head to the floor. Inhale, extend the arm forward, and exhale, sit your hips back.
Now remember, as you exhale, draw the shoulder back down towards the floor. It's the shoulder of the arm that is extended forward. Continue to breathe. And when you're done with those 3 or 4 breaths, come up. All right. This one is for opening up your chest. It's called tabletop. So your feet are going to be hip distance apart, flat on the floor, and you're going to take your hands behind you. Your fingertips are facing your glutes. You're going to pull your shoulders back, squeeze your shoulder blades in towards the middle of your back. You're going to draw your belly in, and let's inhale here. And now as we exhale, we're going to push our hips up as high as we can, feeling our chest open. Squeeze your glutes. Be careful not to drop your head back. Look up at the ceiling, but keep the back of the neck in its natural alignment. And you're going to again hold this for 3 or 4 breaths. And when you're done, come down. Now, another option, you might say, oh, a tabletop, that is way too hard for me to hold myself up. So here's another option to open up the chest. You would come on your knees, and this might be uncomfortable for someone to sit like this with their ankle extended. So you can tuck your toes under and sit back on your heels. Now, you might need a towel to also help you. If you can connect your hands, go ahead and connect your hands behind your back. If you cannot connect your hands, take a towel and place it behind your back and just hold the towel. So from here, you're going to inhale. And as you exhale, I just want you to hinge forward, bring your forehead to the floor. Now hold as you inhale. And now as you exhale, let your arms float away from your back. Hold as you inhale and try to let them float away a little further. And again, you'd hold that for a few breaths and then release. All right, you guys, so I gave you some stretches that you could do. Takes 5-10 minutes to do those. You had a hamstring stretch, a quad stretch with an outer hip stretch. We did the back of the shoulder for thread the needle, and then we did the chest stretch too. So I hope those are some things that you can try to help improve your flexibility. Remember, anytime you are stretching, you want to try to stretch further as you exhale. You move with your breath. Hold as you inhale, and then as you exhale, feel your body relax as you let the air out and try to stretch a little further. All right, you guys, stretching is so important. I hope you incorporate it into your everyday routine, because when you get older, you will be grateful that you did that, because stretching is what keeps you limber. It keeps your joints healthy. All right. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to week 3 starting pretty soon. It's amazing. 2 weeks have gone by. All right. Bye, you guys.